What's on tap here at Saints Now by Chat Sports? Well, let me tell you, the New Orleans Saints have made 4 roster moves since the last time we were able to publish some content. So we're going to catch you up on what happened late yesterday and then what happened so far here on Tuesday around the roster moves. And then, of course, we have to dive into the latest 49ers injury updates around George Kittle and Brock Purdy, because that news right there is extremely impactful as we head into NFL Week 2. My name is Trizzy Trace Girouard. Shout out to my guy, Loco Lopez. You're watching Saints Now by Chat Sports. Let's get this thing on the road. Fadil Diggs was the player who was waived by the New Orleans Saints yesterday. He was the 7th round pick out of Syracuse. Only player to not make the active roster on initial cutdown day, but he was signed to the game day roster in Week 1, played 7 snaps against the Arizona Cardinals, and I do believe that he will be back on the practice squad if he makes it through waivers, so I do expect to see Fadil Diggs back in the black and gold. But one player was cut, which means a roster spot was open, meaning Jack Stoll. Welcome to the active 53-man roster. Tight end. He served as the starting tight end, the blocking tight end in those 2 tight end sets, especially early on in the games. Had 18 total snaps played, and he was used as that blocking tight end while Foster Moreau is still on the PUP list. Same with Taysom Hill. He's also on the PUP list as well. But he did get more run than Maliki Madaval, which is pretty interesting. Didn't really contribute much in the receiving front because he's more of a blocking tight end. But welcome to the active roster. Jack Stoll got more updates and more information to tell you about the tight end position. And then, of course, injury news here on the channel. But first, want to give a quick reminder and friendly, nudge to subscribe here to the channel. We are less than 200 away from getting to 50,000 subscribers. So join our squad, join our family, hit the sub button for Saints content by fans, for fans, every single day. Now, the snap counts for the tight end position in Week 1, no shocks here at Juwan Johnson, at least. 74 snaps. He played 99% of the snaps on offense. Makes sense. He's the tight end one. Obviously had that drop. That was a really, really nice pass breakup late in the game, which could have been a game-tying play. However, I understand why people are frustrated. That being said, he is still going to be your starting tight end for at least right now. Jack Stoll, he did get 18 snaps. Maliki Madaval only saw the field once. So it's interesting to see that the New Orleans Saints have more faith in Jack Stoll. Kellen Moore has experience with this player, and I do think that elevating him to the game day roster and to the active roster, for what it's worth, makes a lot of sense for New Orleans. He had some really, really nice blocks in Week 1. I think he's a player who can actively contribute to the offense, and for what it's worth, I think he's the best option as a blocking tight end that you have on the roster. So as of right now, when it comes to the tight end depth chart, you had 2. But now you have 3. So tight end 1 is going to be Juwan Johnson. Tight end 2, Maliki Madaval. Tight end 3, Jack Stoll. Kind of depends on what you want it to look like. Tight end 2, tight end 3, just depends on what that role specifically would be. But for Maliki Madaval, I do think that he's a player who could be a contributor. 6'8". I think that he's a guy who should get some action in the red zone, as well as get some action on important downs like 3rd down when you need to move the chains, you need to make some plays. Throw it up to the 6'8" guy, or hopefully Juwan Johnson can come down with that catch next time. 2 players were signed to the practice squad. Let's welcome back the 2 players who are moved more than anybody on this roster. Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap. Jake Haener, Hunter Dekkers, back on the practice squad. Jake Haener was originally cut as a part of the 53-man roster initial cut down day. He was not on the 53-man roster. He was brought back to the practice squad. So was Hunter Dekkers. The Saints are opting to keep both of these guys around. I think that that's a pretty smart move, considering they won't actually see the field. Jake Haener's a good guy to have hold the clipboard. He's not somebody who's going to make an impact on game day outside of being a valuable backup who can help be an extra set of eyes to kind of talk with the quarterbacks as well. So I don't think that this is anything that you guys should be freaking out about. Just because Haener and Hunter Dekkers are back doesn't really mean it's going to impact the offense whatsoever. Now, still to come, we got to talk about the 49ers news, because we got a double dose of what I would consider potentially good news. We don't celebrate injuries here on the channel, but I do think in the grand scheme of the Saints trying to find a way to win in Week 2, there are some positive updates for the New Orleans Saints, but bad news for the 49ers. But really quick, got to tell you about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. This episode of Saints Now by Chat Sports brought to you by the #1 daily fantasy sports app in the whole wide world, And ladies and gentlemen, that is none other than Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every single day. But on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. I'm telling you what, if I was a smart man, I would tell my girlfriend to download Prize Picks because she is always right, and I'm trying to get paid for her being right. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it is always great to know ball. I have some really good lineups for this week that I'm cooking up. Alvin Kamara more than half a rushing or receiving yard. He's got to find the end zone once. I'm going to go ahead and take that one. It's a demon pick, meaning the payout is a little bit higher. It's high risk, high reward. It's pretty nice right there. And then you got a free play right here with Travis Kelce. Just needs to get more than half a receiving yard. Come on. That's going to happen. So if you want to fade these picks, you want to tail these picks, you want to make some money, I highly encourage you to download the Prize Picks app today. Prize Picks is the best way to win cash this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your ball knowledge into cold, hard cash all season long on Prize Picks. It's the best way to win money while watching sports. Join millions of users and sign up today. You can download the Prize Picks app and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. I put all that information in the comments and description of this video to make it easy for you. So go click it, check it out, and get started on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Now let's talk injury news because, again, this is bad news for the Niners, but in the grand scheme of the Saints finding a win, this is a good update for the New Orleans Saints. George Kittle, again, not celebrating injuries, just acknowledging that this is a good update for the Saints and a bad update for the Niners, of course. He has been placed on IR due to a hamstring injury. Reports were initially coming out that he would miss 3 to 5 weeks, and he was a strong candidate to go on IR. And then just a few minutes ago, it was made official. So why is this impactful to the New Orleans Saints? Well, obviously, the matchup in Week 2 is Saints versus Niners at the Superdome, which, reminder, will be live for the watch party, hour before kickoff. Going to be hanging out during the game and then afterwards. So be sure to subscribe and tune into that. But the Saints in Week 1 were really, really bad against Trey McBride. He had a great day, 6 catches, 61 yards, at the long of 25. Kittle, no question about it, one of the best in the league at the tight end position, especially when you talk about an all-around tight end. He's not just a good receiver. He's not just a good blocker. He is really, really strong in both of those regards. And he's a player who's extremely impactful for the 49ers offense. He's had a pretty solid past few years, over 1,000 yards in the past 2 campaigns. But George Kittle in Week 1 against the Seattle Seahawks also was able to find the end zone, 4 catches for 25 yards, 1 touchdown in Week 1 for San Francisco. So he's a player who obviously is a big factor for the Niners offense. So him not being available is great news for the New Orleans Saints, who have, in my opinion, struggled against the tight end position, especially when it comes to coverage and getting beat on key downs. Now, more injury news around the San Francisco 49ers. Quarterback Brock Purdy, he has a toe and a left shoulder injury, making his status uncertain for Week 2. Now, for Brock Purdy, from what I understand, the injury that's more concerning for the 49ers clubhouse is the toe injury. So he could potentially miss. I don't know if he will. We're obviously going to have to wait to see what happens on the injury report on Wednesday. But why is this one impactful? Well, because Brock Purdy is a really solid quarterback, in my opinion. I think that there is a weird argument out there of, is he elite, is he not? I think that he has elite traits, but I don't know if he himself is an elite quarterback. That being said, you cannot knock the fact that this guy has found ways to win in multiple different ways. He has battled through adversity, and he is a player who can run this 49ers offense at a very, very high level. If he's not good to go, Mac Jones is the starter. And why is this impactful? Because Brock Purdy is a much better quarterback than Mac Jones. Say what you want about Purdy, whether you think he's elite, whether you think he's terrible. He is definitely a better passer than Mac Jones. Mac Jones is bad. Stinks against pressure, has bounced around the league at this point, had 1, maybe 2 decent seasons, but he is not good. Hopefully the Kyle Shanahan quarterback camp in San Francisco doesn't turn him into an elite player in week 2. But I can tell you right now, the uncertainty in week 2 for Brock Purdy is really good news for the New Orleans Saints, because take a look at this. The possible Niners offense that you could be facing. You take out Brock Purdy, you take out George Kittle, you replace them with Mac Jones and Luke Farrell. And I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that is a significantly less scary offense than had all of their players been healthy. Also considering the fact you don't have Deebo Samuel into the fold. You also have to consider the fact that the New Orleans Saints are a team playing at home. So for the Niners, you obviously have to acknowledge that Ricky Pearsall is a really, really good player. Sky Moore, they traded for him. They brought him in. They also recently signed, what was it? Kendrick Bourne. I think it was, Kendrick Bourne they recently signed. So for the San Francisco 49ers, you don't have a lot of juice on that offense. You were going to get a lot of action to George Kittle. So now that he is unavailable, Juwan Jennings, Christian McCaffrey, Ricky Pearsall are the 3 players you got to worry about. And I do believe that the New Orleans Saints offense is capable of slowing them down enough to potentially luck into and backpedal into a dub in week 2. Now, final thoughts. I want to make this explicitly clear if I haven't already. By no means are we celebrating injuries. They ruin sports. It's horrible. And for what it's worth, I am acknowledging the week 2 matchup, Saints vs. Niners, as the super injured bowl, because both teams super injured already. But this news does increase the odds for the New Orleans Saints to win. So when it comes to these injuries, by no means is it awesome and we're, hooting and hollering saying heck yeah and celebrating it. But it is going to help the New Orleans Saints find a way to potentially leave Sunday with a W. I want to hear from you, Who Dat Nation. Who you got? Saints versus Niners. Type NO for the black and gold. Type SF for the Niners. Get down in the comment section and share your thoughts. Friendly reminder, if you haven't already, hit that sub button right here, right now. I'm actually taking a quick update. We actually gained a couple subscribers while I was filming this video. So shout out to you guys who recently joined the Golden Gang. My name is Trizzy Trace Girouard. We will see you guys next time, and y'all stay golden.